وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُّدَّكِرٍ.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, beloved viewers. You are welcome to our program, Quran Made Easy, reaching you from MTA Africa. On this program, we shall be learning the practical steps in the recitation of the Holy Quran. And we are going to start today, inshallah, from the correct pronunciation of Arabic alphabets. As we are all aware, there are 28 alphabets in Arabic language. And when you master the correct pronunciation of these letters, it will assist you in becoming a good reciter of the Holy Quran. And when you pronounce wrongly, when you pronounce a letter wrongly, you may unintentionally be changing or altering the meaning of the Quran. So it becomes very important for us to acquaint ourselves with the correct pronunciation of all these alphabets. So to start with, we'll start from the first alphabet of Arabic, which is Alif. 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 So the A sound is a very common sound to virtually all languages, especially the African languages. So the A sound is very common. So every one of us will find it very easy to pronounce or to produce this sound. Alif. 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 So we can pronounce 3 times at home. Alif. 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 So that is the first letter. Then we move on to the second one, which is Ba. 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 So the letter Ba is pronounced by the meeting of the 2 lips, that is the lower and the upper lips. So Ba, Ba, Ba. It is at this meeting that the sound is produced. The B, that Ba sound is produced. Ba. You can pronounce that at home 3 times too. Ba, 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 Ba. That is the second letter. Then the third letter in Arabic language is Ta. 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 When you study the position of your tongue while producing this sound, you will observe that the tip of your tongue is somehow touching the upper part of the upper teeth. Ta. Ta. You can pronounce it at home and see. So observe where your tongue is touching from within when you are pronouncing this letter. Ta. 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 That is the third letter. So the first is Alif. The second is Ba. 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 Then the third letter is Ta. 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 That's the third letter. Then the fourth is Tha. Tha. Some people make the mistake in pronouncing this letter. They mistake it as in they mistakenly pronounce it as sin. They will pronounce sin and think they are pronouncing Tha. There is a difference between the pronunciation. When you just say, for instance, the word thumma in the Quran, which means then, thumma, and you say sum, you have just pronounced sin. In pronouncing Tha, the only thing you have to do is to bring out the tip of your tongue, just the tip, not the whole tongue, not half of it, just the tip of the tongue. Bring it out, place it in between the upper and the lower teeth. Tha, as you can see, Tha, 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 Tha. That is all. Tha, Tha, Tha. That is all you have to do. So, but when you don't bring out the tip of your tongue, There is no how you will be pronouncing this letter. Rather, you will be pronouncing sin. And as I said earlier, when you make a mistake in the pronunciation of some of these letters, you may be changing the meaning of the Quran. For instance, the word thumma or thumma, both we have both in the Quran. There is thumma and there is thamma. That is the tha. No, in the Quran comes with fatha in some portions, and in some portions it comes with dhamma. So when you now pronounce sin instead of you pronouncing tha, then you will change the meaning, because thumma is then, that is thereafter, but the word summu by sin means poison. So we can see the disparity, the difference between the meanings. So we have to be very careful when it comes to the pronunciation of these letters. So tha, just the tip of your tongue, place it at the middle of the teeth. Tha, 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 and easily you pronounce the sound. Tha, thum, 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 not sum, not sam, no. So that is the fourth letter, tha, tha, tha. Then the fifth letter is letter jim, jim, jim. Some people pronounce jim, jim. They pronounce ya. That sounds like ya, not jim. So it is something in between jim and ya. By saying jim, jakulun, it is not jakulu, it is ya. It is jim, jim, jim. For instance, don't say mina shaytanir rajim. It's not rajim. It's not jim. It's not jim. It is jim, jim. Mina shaytanir rajim, jim, jim. So letter jim is very important. Make sure you are not pronouncing it in a way that makes it sound more of ya. It is not. So there are two different letters. So no two letters in Arabic language sound the same way, provided you are pronouncing correctly. Once you pronounce correctly, the two letters will not sound the same way. They will sound differently. So when you recite and I'm listening to your recitation, I should be able to know which letter are you pronouncing in the course of recitation. Anytime you pronounce a letter, I should know that you are pronouncing so-so letter. And whenever you are pronouncing other letters, I should know. So there are differences between the pronunciation of jim, ya, and every other letter. So letter jim should be pronounced as jim, 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 jim. Don't pronounce yim, no, not yim, not yi sound. The yi sound should not be there at all. Jim, 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 jim. So you can pronounce it at home too, 3 times. Jim, jim, jim. So that is the 5th letter of Arabic language. Then the next one is ha, 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 ha. If you want to know you are pronouncing ha, just place your hand like this in front of your mouth and pronounce ha. You will see some breeze touching your palm. So the breeze will come out naturally. Ha, 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 ha. So it sounds differently from ah. When you say ah, that is Hamza carrying fatha. That is Hamza carrying fatha. So when you say ah, it is not ha. Ha, ah, they are different. Even though both letters come from the throat, but they come from different parts of the throat and they sound differently. They have different characteristics. They have different features. So ha, Bismillahir Rahman, for instance. Bismillahir Rahman. That is ha, carrying sukun. Then Rahim, he, that is ha, carrying kesra. So when you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Rahim, you have pronounced nothing but Hamza. And that is not correct. So the correct thing is ha, Rahim, Rahim, ha, 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 ha. So make sure that anybody listening to your recitation can know which letter you are pronouncing at when. So, ha, ha, that is the sixth letter in Arabic language. Ha, ha, ha. Then we move on to the next letter, which is kho, 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 kho. That is kho. It also comes from the throat. Kho, kho, kho. Some people mistakenly pronounce kho. They pronounce kof as kho, and they pronounce kho as kof. For instance, when you want to recite khalidina fiha, the word khalidina fiha in the Quran, the first letter of that word khalidin is letter kho, kho. And when you now pronounce it as khalidina fiha, that is kof. That is kof. And khalid and khalid, they do not mean the same thing. So you have to be very careful. It is kho. It is as if you are trying to bring out some mucus from your mouth. But in actual fact, nothing is coming out. Just kho, 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 kho. So compare that with ko, ko, ko. That is kof carrying fatha now. They are different. One is kho, one is ko, kho, ko. They are different. They sound differently. So the pronunciation is kho, kho, kho. So that's the pronunciation. So we can pronounce it at home 3 times. Kho, 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 kho. Now, the next alphabet after kho is dhāl, dhāl, dhāl. This is pretty much easy to pronounce because we have the equivalent of that D sound as we have in English. We have it also in major African languages. So probably we'll be able to pronounce it correctly. We have dhāl, 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 dhāl. Just the D sound. Dhāl, dhāl, dhāl. The next one, which is the 9th alphabet, is dhāl, dhāl, dhāl. When you want to pronounce dhāl, just like tha, the tip of your tongue will be involved. Place it in between the upper and the lower teeth, and you'll be able to produce the sound. Dhāl. Not the mid, not bringing out half of your tongue, no. Just the tip. When you say dhāl, no, that's not. Dhāl is dhāl, dhāl, dhalikal kitabu, dhalikal kitabu. Some people, when they want to pronounce dhāl, they mistakenly pronounce za. So you have to make a distinction between the two. Don't say zalikal kitab. That is wrong. It's not zalikal kitab. It is dhalikal kitab, dhalikal kitab, dhalikal kitab. It is dhal, dhal, dhalikal kitab, not zal. So not zal and not sin. But some people also pronounce sin as dhal. In fact, you hear people recite salikal kitab. That is wrong. It is dhal, dhalikal kitab, and not zalikal kitab. When you say zalikal kitab, you are pronouncing zai, which is not dhal. So in order for you to correct that mistake, make sure you involve the tip of your tongue. Once you involve the tip of your tongue, there is no how you pronounce sin as dhal, and there is no how you pronounce za as dhal. That is because both sin and za, when you want to pronounce them, you don't need the tip of your tongue. Once the tip of your tongue is involved, there is no how sin will be pronounced. There is no how za will be pronounced when you bring out the tip of your tongue. So that is what you need to do. So we have been able to cover 9 alphabets. We have been able to cover Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha, Jim, Ha, Kho, Dal, and Dhal. So inshallah, in our next episode, we shall continue from the next alphabet in an attempt to acquaint ourselves with the correct pronunciation of all these letters so that we can become better reciters of the Quran. So for more inquiries, you can send us an email on africa@mta.tv. Till we meet in our next episode, I say ma'as salama. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.